Good morning. We're headed to Hyde Park, New York today. It's probably about 3 hours from where we live, and we are going to Franklin D. Roosevelt's library and presidential home, and
Eleanor's estate.
all right, and hopefully we might even go to the Culinary Institute of America. All right, we'll see you on the road. We are in Nyack, New York, where we're gonna go get some breakfast at a place called Strawberry Place. We've been here once before. It's cash only, so bring cash. Alice had eggs Benedict over avocado toast, and I had a breakfast bowl with steak, and they were delicious. After breakfast, we drove about an hour and a half to Hyde Park, New York, where our first stop was FDR's home and presidential library. This is FDR's house in Hyde Park, New York. All right, about ready to start a tour. Oh, here's the library. Apparently FDR had 22,000 books, which you'll be able to see on the shelves. This is the dining room. This chair that's pulled out is the chair that FDR would sit in. And then back there is the kids' table. He did have 6 children. 5 that survived to adulthood. This is Franklin's room from when he was a child. The third floor up here was the kids' bedroom and playroom. This is FDR's bedroom. There's a wheelchair that's more narrow in his day than normal, so he could get through the hallways in his house and on the elevator. Alright, we just exited the back of FDR's house, and here we are. Beyond all these trees is the Hudson River, but he planted these trees, but now we cannot see the actual river. The side yard. It's the side of his house, and Alice and our friends Paul and Dolly came with us on this little weekend getaway. Originally this house was purchased with 110 acres that ran alongside the Hudson River, which is just beyond these trees over here. We're headed into the Rose Garden. This is also the burial location of FDR and his wife Eleanor. The location, so from where he was born to this location here, only about 100 yards. So although he spent his, life traveling the world and doing things that presidents do and senators do, ultimately he wanted to be laid to rest at this place in Hyde Park. FDR, president for 4 terms.
4 terms, isn't that something?
Yeah, the war president. Across from Churchill, who said he didn't have time to train another president after FDR's 2nd term. So that's why he ran for a 4th term, a 3rd term, and then he ran for a 4th term, and then he died, I think 87 days into his 4th term. Got pieces of the Berlin Wall here. This would be East Berlin side. Notice no graffiti on it because no one could really get close to it. But on the East Side, East Berlin. I mean West Berlin, sorry. On West Berlin you could get closer to it. So that's where there's all the graffiti on it. Headed into the museum now. Here's a quote from FDR's 1937 inaugural address. "The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little."
So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
FDR's actual study. See his wheelchair over there actually has like an ashtray in it. In FDR's 1941 State of the Union address, he outlined 4 essential human freedoms that he believed everyone in the world should be able to enjoy. First is freedom of speech and expression. The second is freedom of worship. The third is freedom from want. And the fourth is freedom from fear.
After the death of FDR in 1945, Eleanor Roosevelt was appointed as a U.S. delegate to the United Nations, continuing her life in public service. She chaired the UN Human Rights Commission and played a pivotal role in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, earning her global respect. She remained an active advocate for civil rights and women's issues, later chairing the Presidential Commission on the Status of Women under President John F. Kennedy.
We had this fascinating, unexpected stop at this place called the Desai Blue Sake Brewery. This was an elevated experience compared to the hibachi restaurant sake you get. Desai Blue is a prestigious Japanese brand bringing their top-tier sake production to the US, and they are producing it with American ingredients. We opted for a flight where we got to taste 6 amazing sakes, but we could have also enjoyed a tasting, tour of the brewery, and even sushi if we wanted to. But we just ate lunch, so we didn't get any sushi.
That's sparkling. There's only one sparkling.
Why don't you try it?
Sake.
Who's driving?
We're doing type 35 sake tasting.
Oh, that's nice. I like that one better.
My turn.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. That one is
It's different.
fruitier.
Yeah.
Definitely fruitier.
The second one was good. Good try.
All right. We enjoyed sake. Sake's a good time. Definitely do it again. Thank you, Sake Brewery. The next day, we headed to the Vanderbilt mansion to take a tour. It was a seasonal escape for Frederick Vanderbilt and his wife. It's a huge 54-room mansion which contains artwork and furnishings that were worth more than 3 times the cost to build the house. The property is beautiful with Italian gardens and million-dollar views of the Hudson River. The Vanderbilt mansion is part of the National Park Service, so we were able to use our America the Beautiful Pass to pay for our tour. We had a few minutes before the tour, so we decided to walk around the property a little bit and explore the small museum in the guest house.
Now, before William passes away in 1885, he decides to be a little more generous than his father. He decides to split his wealth amongst his 8 kids. His 2 eldest sons will get about 70% of that family fortune and business. The rest of his children, including Frederick Vanderbilt, the man who builds this mansion behind me, will get around $10 million. Now, this new generation of Vanderbilts, the 3rd generation, are gonna be the big spenders. In total, all 8 kids are gonna build about 43 mansions, and you can probably name a couple like the Biltmore in North Carolina, the Breakers, or the Marble House in Newport, Rhode Island. Essentially, these mansions are status symbols because in this time frame called the Gilded Age, you have these new money families like the Vanderbilts or even the Rockefellers are trying to compete in society with old money families like the Roosevelts or the Astors. Now, Frederick and Louise Vanderbilt purchased a mansion on this site in 1895 for $125,000. They also purchased 200 acres of land, which is the land we're standing on right now, and then they'll purchase 500 more acres across Route 9 to build a farm. But it does come with updated technology. It does have electricity, hot and cold running water, central heating, just no air conditioning. It is 6 floors, 54 rooms, 14 bathrooms, and it's about 45,000 square feet. Now,
So in 1938 or 1939, when Frederick Vanderbilt passed away, he left this house to a niece who lived in Newport, Rhode Island, but she didn't have any interest in keeping the place, so she attempted to sell it for like $350,000, and she couldn't sell it. She lowered the price to $250,000. No one wanted to buy it, and then eventually Franklin Delano Roosevelt suggested that they leave it to the National Park Service, which she did. So she sold it to the National Park Service for $1. And that's why we're here visiting today.
Hey.
All right, we're in the foyer.
You know what you're looking at here. You got Frederick's office right here. Not a necessary office for the railroad business, but office for the estate. You got the den right there, the living room, the gold room. You can see why it's called the gold room once you look inside. Bathroom, powder room, and then the dining room.
This is the dining room. Office. This is the gold room for obvious reasons. Look at the ceiling. The fresco on the ceiling.
The European furniture that we're seeing here on the first floor. The only piece of furniture that does not come from Europe is going to be the grand piano in the living room. That is an American-made piano, but it was sent to Europe to be hand-painted and then sent back to the States. So that doesn't tell you anything about the Vanderbilts. I don't know what does. Now, eventually, both parties would reconvene in the living room where they enjoyed some games like charades or bridge, or maybe even listen to someone play the piano. Once midnight rolled around, that was when everybody's due to be going to bed for the night. They would take that grand staircase up to the second floor. But if their bedrooms were on the third, they would take another grand staircase to get up there. So we are going to take that grand staircase and see some of those bedrooms on the second floor. Two things to note, though, is that the only thing you can touch here in Vanderbilt Mansion is going to be the red velvet handrail. So get your money's worth today, folks, by holding on to that handrail as you head upstairs to the second floor.
It's the handle. It's your chance.
Oh, is that velvet?
Velvet.
Oh, that's nice.
This is the second floor. We just came up the grand staircase. Wow. Look at this.
Whoa, whoa, are you kidding me?
Now we're going down the servants' staircase.
Here at the Vanderbilt Mansion, everything is done by the French style, which means the head housekeeper's in charge. That means everyone, including the butler, answers to her. She's in charge of their pay and also hiring and firing them as well. In that very back corner there, that is going to be where the male staff bedrooms. Also back there, that's going to be where the laundry rooms for both guests and staff. The most active space on this entire floor, though, is going to be the kitchen. Kitchen would have been active from sunrise to sunset. All meals were prepared by a French chef. We also have first and second cook and also kitchen maid to help prepare meals for the staff. They would eat their meals in that staff dining room off to the side there. Think of today as a break room. Not only they will enjoy their meals, but also make light conversations about their day or even listen to the radio. And then you got the ice box. That ice box was never electrified, and there was an ice pond somewhere here on the property. Workers would collect ice during the winter and have that stored throughout the entire season here. Now, working for the Vanderbilts, the hours must have been long, the work itself must have been difficult, but there were some perks for working for them. You got free room and board, you got free health care, you were seen by the Vanderbilt's primary doctor. Your pay was actually double compared to what other mansions were providing at this time. And if you're one of the lucky 30 staff that still works here when Frederick's living here by himself, you were actually remembered in his will when he passes away. Some staff received up to $1,000. While that doesn't seem a lot in today's standards, but back in the 1930s, that's buy you a house. Once this gets turned over to the National Park Service in 1940, some of those very first tours were actually led by some of those staff. In the 1970s, those staff were still around and gave oral histories to the National Park Service to give rangers insight what it's like to interact and work for the Vanderbilts. And we rangers continue to use those stories not only to interpret the legacy and the lifestyle of the Vanderbilts, but also to honor those who worked here behind the scenes of the Vanderbilt Mansion.
Okay, we are at Val-Kill, which is Eleanor Roosevelt's home after Franklin passed away.
Oh, look how pretty. Oh my god.
So originally Val-Kill was a furniture making business here on the Val-Kill river, and when after it closed in 1936, Eleanor turned it into her residence. There's the gardens at Eleanor Roosevelt's home.